Hey there, I, Sam Valentino, private Toon Detective, want to tell you about my biggest caper yet. It was just last weekend at Anthro New England 2025. The Staggering Case of their missing deer mascot, Copley. You've heard me talk about this case a few times during the last year. And well, I finally got to solve it. But I wasn't alone. My buddy Zach Wolf also snooped around a bit for me when I was busy. And I also worked with a partner, Inspector Ferdinand Ferret, who takes the Sherlock Holmes approach. So after I arrived in Boston, got my con badge and checked into my hotel room, Ferdy and I attended the opening ceremonies. And afterward, we got our first clue. Look at the back of the badge. There's half a QR code there. So we set about to see what was going on, and it turned out the con staffers had the other half of the QR code on their badges. So I was able to scan it on my smartphone, taking me to a news website, the Stag Gazette. But to get any of the links to work, you needed a password. Well, I would have set about to get any clues on the password, but first I had some business to attend to. The Fursuit games. Yep, this year I got to be part of them. My first Anthro New England Fursuit games in this persona. I was on the red team, just like when the channel creator in here was at Anthro New England's first Fursuit games 10 years ago. That's right, this year is A&E's 10th anniversary. The Fursuit games this year had 6 events. They started with us doing a tube sled race of sorts, and then we did a little hockey, followed by a snowball fight with colored play-place balls, then a game of tug of war, and some kind of relay race, or whoever gets the balloon last has to pop in and sit down, so the fur in front of him or her can do it next, and so on. At least I was able to pop my balloon with my foxy foot paws with minimal effort. And then after that was the final event, everyone's favorite, musical chairs. Not surprisingly, I wound up out in the 3rd round, as usually in these kind of things, i.e. the channel creator, end up eliminated from musical chairs somewhere between the 2nd and 4th rounds. And just like at that first Anthro New England, the red team won the Fursuit games. Then after that, I got a big clue from someone who had worked on the A&E staff. A con badge sticker had been printed with Copley's name on it. That got me pondering. Especially with Copley all the way in California, I had a wild hunch that somehow Copley would show up at Anthro New England. And I shared that information with Zach and Inspector Ferdy. Also, at Saturday morning, I hosted the Classic Cartoons panel in place of my friend Anthro Coon, who unfortunately died 2 weeks before the con. He would have wanted it that way. After that, we had a little remembrance meetup for Anthro Coon, with plenty of memories and tears and hugs to go around. But then the mood greatly lightened after that with the YouTube Poop panel. I got a huge turnout, and we all had a great time with me presenting the history of YouTube Poops, editing techniques and tips, and a few samples of my, i.e. the channel creator's works. After all, given the creators especially known in the furry fandom for YouTube Poops, it would naturally be a success. One of my younger online followers, known online as Jelly Ibo, even drew this for me. That's a really good likeness of me. He's a fan of my YouTube Poops, and I even signed an autograph for him. Makes me feel warm inside to know I've got young fans enjoying my YouTube Poops and my Fursuit content. And after that, me and Ferdy headed to the big Fursuit group photo parade, marching around the hotel and impressing everyone. And I got to meet up with some old friends, all making some new ones, as well as trying to get some information for them. I also stepped out of the con for a short while to go to the Vintage Underground, the record store that replaced In Your Ear a couple years ago. Like In Your Ear, they sell lots of records and tapes and CDs, some movies on VHS, but they also sell older clothes and books and memorabilia, hence the name Vintage Underground. I bought these cassettes for Zach, since he's more into music than I am. He's a firm believer in physical media, like I am. Heck, Saturday night, he even went and did this record player bit around the con with that Fisher-Price portable phonograph, playing appropriate songs like Watching the Detectives by Elvis Costello, Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell and Michael Jackson, and of course, Private Eyes by Hall & Oates. But the crowd was getting bigger at the con, making it a little trickier for him. Sunday morning, I still did more snooping around for some more clues and information relating to what I knew about Copley being in California for further confusion and a badge sticker with his name on it. I also wondered if one reason why they came up with that mystery theme for this year's Anthro New England was because of my prominence around the con for the last 2 years alongside Zach Wolf. Same with Fur Apocalypse, along with when just I went to Anime Boston and Fan Expo Boston, all in 2023, as well as 2024. All weekend long, I had others asking me if I had found Copley yet, and I told them my theories on what had happened. Though the thing with further confusion in San Jose, California wasn't a theory, because I saw the evidence. They set up a VR chat portal of sorts, so both A&E and FC could speak to each other, and we spotted Copley through the portal, along with another member sharing me another vital piece of evidence. One of those furry con AI captures of Copley over at FC, and with that A&E badge sticker bearing Copley's name, I also soon began to share my theory with a few other sleuths about that, and along with my partner, Ferdy, with my theory that he would somehow return right before the con ends, like flying on a plane or something. I also spotted a couple of clues in that Stag Gazette news site that pretty much confirmed my deduction on Copley's whereabouts. The dealers then didn't really have any clues, though one of the charities, Wings of the Dawn, did bring some neat wildlife during nursing back to health. Even a red-tailed hawk and a great horned owl, the two birds of prey you always hear in the media, no matter what bird is being shown on screen. Inspector Ferdy and I then shared our findings at that point, and we did a photo room session together, being the detective partners we were. One of their props is a giant magnifying glass. I'm pretty sure that one was built more for macro furs. And while not related to the Copley mystery, with Anthro New England greatly growing every year, I've still got my hunch within a couple of years they'll be expanding operations to the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center right next door. With this bigger crowd, the lines were longer than usual, even to get on the elevators. It got to the point where they had to set up another line, a priority express line for people with disabilities and for fursuiters. This is good, as in addition to people who are handicapped or whatever, fursuiters should generally also get the right of way when it comes to convention elevators. It was getting to be like the Sesame Street animated segments of the Animal Department Store elevator from the late 80s. As things were winding down that Sunday afternoon, I had pretty much finished putting the puzzle pieces together. So I hung out and watched the kaiju clash, since a few of my friends are partaking in that last bit of mayhem before the con ends. The closing ceremonies came next, pretty much being a summation gathering, where we finally blow the lid off the mystery. They revealed that Copley was indeed at further confusion that weekend, and I was quick to point out my deduction was correct. Even more so, Copley himself showed up, and once again my hunch was right. Me and Inspector Ferdy managed to crack the case wide open, and we got a lot of praise for our detective work. Also, this year we had 5,761 attendees. Now it's way over 1,000 for last year, and I will admit I was a little off since I speculated from some of the badge numbers we might have gotten over 6,000. Well, it's still really close. And we managed to raise $40,000 for the charities. I'm glad I could donate a bit to that. I may be a hard-boiled private detective, but I still have some generosity. And next year, Anthro New England's going to have a Western theme. I'll still be there, but I won't be out as much as Zach Wolf, as he's already planning to put together a cowboy outfit, since he's more excited about going all Western than I am. Though while this case is over, there will be other mysteries out there for me to solve. I will still be attending Anime Boston later in the spring. but I will always look back at year's Anthro New England caper with the most fondness. My introduction to Inspector Fernette, the great ferret detective. Oh, there I go now imitating Disney movies. But until then, just stay tuned to this YouTube channel for whatever may happen next.